Buddhists believe all life is suffering.
How do I measure the threshold that they meet that is
let's say the
extreme in their
person-
suffering?
How do you measure that sort of thing?
Again, the person can't provide for the child.
What about the poor people?
The foster system is completely disgusting.
Growing up in the foster system can be kind of complicated.
It needs reform.
Okay, so I just need to know what the measure is, because you're making this
so the
statement that we
measure?
should do euthanasia on the basis of a level of suffering.
So the
How do we
measure
measure
is
that?
obviously
How do you measure that sort of thing?
case by case, when the suffering would be worse than the suffering of life.
Okay, so I don't know what that means. The suffering would be worse than the suffering of life. What does that mean?
Buddhists believe all life is suffering.
So say if the child were to live, their suffering would be far more disgusting
So you can see the future.
than what putting them down would
And so
be.
then how do
in
you
euthanasia.
prove that? How do you prove that they would suffer in such a disgusting manner?
So you can see the future.
Do you have a way to prove that?
I feel like the mother would be able to decide that, because whether or not they can provide a living situation.
Well, that's not exactly what I asked you. I think you kind of sidestepped the question. You said, well, no, the mother will decide. Okay, fine. How does the mother know that the child's going to suffer to this threshold that you've laid out
So you can see the future.
so that we can euthanize them?
How do we let the mother decide? Well, how would you let any person decide? How is depression anything? Like,
So if somebody, you're not really getting to the question there of the proof. Let's move on to a slightly different question. So let's say somebody was clinically depressed and they wanted to off themselves. Would you grant that to them? She left.
By murdering all those people, all you're doing is destroying the memory of your daughter and causing the same pain that you're suffering from.
Not sure why she left. I'm just curious how this euthanasia policy is going to work. Are we going to take a mentally ill person who is dying on the inside and tell them, you know what, let's just take away your life because we just don't value them, we don't care for them? Or are we going to actually love them and will the good of them and say, no, we're not going to take away your life. We're going to allow you to live, and we're going to actually to help form you into somebody who's more sane and healthy.
We never give up. We never quit.